Welcome to DRS Zone. If you're here looking for some polite, measured reflection on the Qatar Grand Prix, you are in the wrong place.
Definitely the wrong place.
Qatar was not a race. It was a surgical dissection of the championship contenders, separating the cold-blooded operators from the strategic failures.
Total failure.
We are here to unload the official post-race source notes, and frankly, some of these grades are criminal.
They absolutely are. We saw brilliance. We saw just total chaos. And I think most importantly, we saw a guaranteed victory absolutely thrown away in the pit lane.
Thrown away.
And because of that, the championship is now a brutal three-way knife fight heading into Abu Dhabi, all because one team choked. They just choked under pressure.
The standings are so tight, and you just know those decisions are going to haunt them.
Oh, yeah.
So today, we are going to dissect the catastrophic fours, the mastery of the nines, and that unforgivable strategy blunder that blew the whole title race wide open.
Let's get into it.
Let's unpack this deep dive. Okay, here's where my blood pressure starts to rise. We have to start with the team that should be celebrating, but instead they're just drowning in regret. McLaren.
Yeah.
Oscar Piastri gets a stellar grade 8. He was on pole, he minimized damage, he had the pace. Yet, McLaren just sacrificed the win. The source notes are scathing. They talk about paranoia and strategic cowardice.
It's exactly what it was.
So explain it. What was the failure that cost them this victory?
It was pure self-sabotage, and it was rooted in fear. I mean, you have to remember the context here.
The tire limits.
Exactly. The mandatory 25-lap limit from the FIA. That turned every single pit stop into this high-stakes, predetermined lottery.
Right.
And McLaren threw away the win because they just refused to split their strategy. They wouldn't risk a double stack that might upset one of their drivers.
But why the fear? They had the fastest car on track all day.
Because of the chaos on track. If they had double stacked Piastri and then Norris, the notes are really clear that Norris would have certainly been delayed in that stop.
And that delay isn't just a second, is it?
No. It risked dropping him right behind traffic. We're talking Fernando Alonso and Sir Lewis Hamilton. He'd have to fight his way back through.
So they were terrified of deciding the championship in the pits.
Yes. By penalizing Norris, they were so scared of doing that they guaranteed they lost the race on track to Max Verstappen. They wanted to keep everyone happy when what they needed was brutal clinical prioritization.
That fear cost them the ultimate prize. So let's turn the lens on Piastri himself. Grade 8 is fantastic, but the notes point to a critical deficiency, a lack of assertiveness. What was that moment? Where did he need to find that extra gear of blood and ruthlessness?
It was right there in that mandatory pit stop sequence. Piastri gets called in on lap 24, one lap before the absolute limit.
He knew. Everyone knew Norris had to pit on 25.
Everybody knew. A true champion in that moment defies the order. He should have stayed out for that extra lap and then pitted on lap 25 himself.
And what would have happened if he had defied them?
Oh, it would have been catastrophic for the team dynamic, but brilliant for him. By pitting on 25, he would have just completely prioritized his own result.
Norris would have been boxed in.
Totally boxed in behind the pit crew. He would have lost critical time, dropping from P2 maybe back to P4 or P5.
Yeah.
Behind all that midfield traffic.
And Piastri.
Piastri would have had a clean stop and cruised to victory. He lacked that killer instinct. He chose to play nice.
He chose reputation over victory. And that's the difference. Now, contrast that with Lando Norris, who got a 7. The sources call his race safe, driving with the calculator.
Yeah, that's fair. He did exactly what the team wanted, but he just didn't have the outright pace that Piastri showed all weekend.
What do they mean by driving with the calculator?
It means he was managing the gap, avoiding risk, executing for a safe finish.
Yeah.
We saw him pass Max back early on, but once Verstappen got him later, Norris just sort of settled.
Right.
He secured points, but that small lack of pace compared to his teammate and that reliance on the team's protective strategy, that's the big question mark over his title hopes now.
Before we move from the strategic failures to the absolute train wrecks further down the field, a quick word. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome to DRS Zone. Don't forget to subscribe for more F1 content.
This segment is part of our news coverage of recent F1 events.
Okay. Time to name and shame. We are looking at the drivers who earned a grade of 4. This isn't just bad luck. This is outright failure. Unforgivable mistakes.
Yeah, these are bad.
Let's start with the driver whose actions caused that early safety car chaos.
We're talking about Pierre Gasly,
A 4.
And the notes call it criminal.
Criminal. Why so harsh?
He started P9, he was battling, but the problem was he already had damage and just lost control of the car. He's fighting Hulkenberg, who the authorities say was not at fault, by the way. Gasly just loses the rear, countersteers, and boom, into the barrier, full safety car. It's a 4 because he wasn't managing the car's limits with the damage he had. That single act just ruined the opening stint for so many drivers.
Sent himself to the back and derailed the whole race.
Exactly.
That recklessness set the tone now. The Mercedes disaster, 2 4s, George Russell and Sir Lewis Hamilton. Let's start with Hamilton, P11 to P12. The sources say an absolutely horrible weekend.
It really was. Hamilton's entire weekend was just defined by this poor execution of a really risky tire strategy. He started on the softs, gambling on early pace.
A gamble that did not pay off.
Not at all. She gained a few spots at the start, but that tire never delivered the race pace he needed. By the time he pitted, he was way back and never got into the main fight. P12 was only salvaged because other guys had bigger problems. He was a ghost out there.
And on the other side of the garage, George Russell. That grade 4 really comes down to the start, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Russell just messed up the start. On a track like Losail, where you can't overtake, that is devastating.
Hey, track position is king.
It is. And the data shows clear clutch slip. He dropped 3 critical spots, P4 to P7, in the first 200 meters. The whole rest of his race was just trying to claw that back, burning up his tires, and for what?
He finished P5, which on paper looks okay.
But it's completely masked by retirements and other issues. The notes are clear. His poor start defined his whole Grand Prix. The performance just wasn't there.
We also have to talk about Esteban Ocon, another 4. His race was just a series of compounded errors.
So it was a masterclass in self-destruction. First, the jump start. That's an immediate 5-second penalty.
Rookie mistake.
Then, he pits 1 lap later than everyone else under the safety car. Missed the window, gets sent to the back of the queue, and then to top it all off, he has an agonizingly slow pit stop later on.
You can't make that many mistakes.
3 separate self-inflicted errors.
Yeah.
It's a complete comedy of errors. A total failure to execute under pressure.
And we can't forget the Aston Martin driver who, he got lapped.
That would be Lance Stroll. Finished penultimate. He was off the pace all weekend. Got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah.
Just a painful, forgettable race. 0 momentum.
Okay, time to turn our attention to the genuine heroes, the ones who extracted pure performance from all that chaos. Let's talk about the colossal performance from Carlos Sainz. He got a 9.
A 9.
Now, a 9 for a driver finishing 4th, that's extraordinary. Isn't that grade a little bit skewed by the fact that McLaren basically handed him positions?
That 9 is earned, and I will defend it easily. This was an absolute monstrosity of a drive, especially in that Williams.
P7 to P4.
Exactly. And, yes, he benefited from the McLaren mess, but his pace was stratospheric.
So where did that come from? Was it just raw aggression?
It was tire management and consistency. The data shows he was managing his tire degradation better than both McLarens. We're talking nearly 0.2 a lap better in the final third of those stints.
Wow.
That speed, combined with flawless strategy execution. He did everything he could, surpassed all realistic expectations for that car.
Yeah.
That's why he gets the highest non-winner grade.
2 podiums this season with Williams. That's just beyond all expectations. That 9 is pure gold.
It is.
All right, let's look at the actual winner. Max Verstappen, he gets a 9.5. Was this pure genius, or was it just a gift wrapped by McLaren?
The victory itself, it was primarily courtesy of McLaren. Let's be honest about that.
Okay.
However, Verstappen executed the perfect Grand Prix once that opportunity opened up. He was aggressive with Norris early, he secured the lead, and then he just controlled the race. Managed the stops perfectly. Faultless performance. And the championship implication is immense. He grabbed a win that ensures this is a genuine 3-way fight in Abu Dhabi. He was absolutely clinical.
Okay, quick review of some high-grade drama. Isack Hadjar, grade 7. A brilliant race until tragedy.
Yeah, he had an excellent drive. He was running comfortably for a guaranteed P6 finish, which would have been a huge result for him. And then absolute cruelty. A puncture on the penultimate lap. Just fell down the order. That puncture was the only thing that kept him from a grade 8. A cruel, cruel end.
And what about the veteran drama? Fernando Alonso gets a solid 7, but we saw 2 very unusual errors from him.
And that's exactly why it's a 7, not an 8 or a 9. 2 uncharacteristic spins. One in the sprint under pressure from Antonelli, then another in the Grand Prix that cost him 2 positions.
You just don't see that from him.
Rarely. It suggests the pressure cooker is getting to him. Those are mistakes you just don't expect from a driver of his caliber.
Finally, Kimi Antonelli. Started P5, finished P5. Grade 5. A neutral result, but the score suggests a failure. Why the middle-of-the-road grade?
Because he failed to execute under maximum pressure. He held P5 well, but he lost that position during the critical first pit stop.
What happened?
It came down to heavy traffic. The notes cite a key driver error, a slight delay coming into the box under pressure from the incoming McLaren traffic. He just didn't have that decisive reaction time when the intensity was at its peak, and Carlos Sainz just leapfrogged him.
The lesson learned.
A tough lesson, for sure. The grade reflects the failure to perform when it mattered most.
So what does this all mean for the championship? We leave Qatar with Verstappen leading by half a point, McLaren in self-inflicted chaos, and Carlos Sainz proving he is pure gold.
The mistakes here have just tightened this championship into a true three-way street. Piastri is now sitting third in the standings, but the big question for Abu Dhabi is critical.
Go on.
Given McLaren's strategic cowardice here, their refusal to let their drivers actually race. When the pressure is on in the finale, will Piastri be allowed to attack for the title?
Or will he be forced to play the sidekick?
Exactly. Will he be forced into the role of Escudero to protect Norris, to protect the status quo instead of risking it all for the ultimate prize?
Now, that is the ultimate question heading into the finale. Will the team find its spine, or will they watch another potential victory just slip through their fingers?
We'll find out soon enough.
Thank you for diving deep with us into the Qatar GP notes. And make sure you follow DRS Zone on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We'll be back next week to break down the Abu Dhabi showdown.